It's Dave.
And Dan.
And welcome to another episode of Hooked on Headwaters. This week, Dan's going to be giving us a lake and fishing update. Conditions are been pretty good this week with the exception of today.
Yeah.
It's windy and cold. And then we're going to cover swim jigs. And that's our lure or featured lure of the week. Dan's going to cover how we fish it, how we rig it, when to use it. Last time we went out, he kind of whipped it out toward the end of our day, and sure enough, boom, 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 we managed to find a few nice fish using the swim jig to go-to lure. Mm-hmm. So with that said, we are at the Davis House Inn. Great place to stay. We've said this before. They're located in Sebastian, Florida, about 20-25 minutes from the boat ramp. And it is just a phenomenal place. Behind or in front of us is the Indian River. Beautiful location. That way and that way. A bunch of great places to eat, hang out, and enjoy your time here in this area of Florida. So we highly, highly recommend it. And if you mention Hooked on Headwaters, Kyle, the owner, will give you a nice discount for your stay here. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dan.
Okay. So I was pretty busy this week.
Yeah.
As some of you guys that are at the ramp know, it's been a busy time of year. Had some good days this week. You and I both fished with Bill Claridge, a customer and friend of ours from Montana, and I fished with him over the weekend, and we had a tough day. And then I went back Monday and fished the same areas, and we did really, really well. I had Brad and Morgan on Monday, and they smashed them. Mm-hmm. They got 56 fish. We started the morning with top water, and we had a combination of artificial. We did a lot of artificial and live bait. I think we had 4 dozen or so shiners. But we started off with top waters. Walking baits produced very, very well. Now the day before, it didn't produce much at all.
Yeah.
So we had a few bites there. And then the following day, same thing, started in the same area, didn't get a bite. So it's been kind of strange at Headwaters for me, kind of a little inconsistent. As one day we'll really hammer them, and then the next day it's not so much.
Heard that from other people.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Brad and Morgan, they did really well. Great, I mean, it was a great day. Good numbers of fish. Brad got an 8.3, I think it was his personal best, and Morgan got one, I think, in the 6-pound range.
Nice.
So that was really cool. The next day I fished with buddies of theirs. These guys are all from Carolinas. Josh and his son Eli. Eli's 10 years old, and he's a heck of a fisherman. He's really, really great fisherman, just like his dad. So had a great time with them. They caught some nice fish up to about 5.5 pounds. And again, that morning we started with topwater and didn't get a bite in the same place the guys just smashed them the morning before, in very similar conditions. So other folks I had, let me check here because I don't want to forget anybody. Next I had Jim and Walt. We had a great day shiner fishing. We ran through all our shiners, fished from different areas where I've been catching them, and had Bob and Roger. Roger caught one that was 8.11, I think it was, on a shiner.
Nice fish.
Really good. It was an afternoon trip. And I had Steve and Nancy yesterday. Didn't catch any real big ones up to about 3.5 pounds, but it's been a good week.
Yeah.
It's been a good week.
Yeah. So Dan, what kind of lures did you guys use?
Okay. So the mornings with topwater I typically started out with walking baits, whether it was the Zara Spook or I have an old Lucky Craft walking bait. Yeah. Any kind of walking bait, but I did notice that I think sometimes a quieter bait, because we had some mornings it was slick calm. I'll use a little bit quieter bait, as in not as loud of rattles. The Spook has some deep sounding rattles for the Lucky Craft that I actually fish a lot. And then the knockoff Bass Pro that looks just like it. They have quieter rattles. So if you check out the video our last video.
Last week's, yeah.
You'll see the walking baits I've been catching a lot on.
Yeah, and their product links on that video, I'll put them on this one as well, so you can click on it, and if you want to buy one, if you're interested in buying one.
Yeah. So after the topwater bites, you know, guys, it'll slow it'll start slow down mid-morning usually. What we did was we switched over. We fished swimming worms, which I fished out a lot.
Right.
We caught quite a few on swimming worms. Flukes are still doing pretty well. I like the natural colors. Although Josh and his son Eli, they were using white and like a bright lime green, and they caught them pretty decent on that. So, and in a couple of different areas of the lake. That and swim jigs. Brad on Monday, we caught a bunch on topwater, and then he switched over to the swim jig. And his first pitch, there was a hole in the hydrilla, and he caught a 5.55 or something like that. So I was thinking it's a swim jig, and he pitched it. That's cool. So I was thinking he's going to cast. He pitched, and first pitch caught it.
Right.
So water depth, most of my stuff I've been fishing a lot shallower. My deep spots that I've been catching on for the last, this time last year, I'm not catching them there. I'm sure some of you guys, I know there's some guys catching them on the deeper spots, just the areas that I fish a lot. I haven't been catching them in the deep. But this is the spawn, so I'm getting finding areas that have beds in them. Right. And that's been kind of a key in my shallow areas that I'm fishing. I tend to find the concentration around the bed. So if you get in an area and you find beds, start slowing your boat down, and fish the area thoroughly. So
where are we with the spawn? Are they just off? Are they still staging?
It's Florida, so it's.
I know.
It's like very.
But we get asked this question all the time.
Yeah. For all you guys who are up north, I know your spawn window is very narrow compared to Florida.
Yeah.
And we've said it over and over again. It can go. I've seen beds as early as October in years past.
Right.
And all the way a couple stragglers into April.
Yeah.
So that's. But February, March is our key time, and a lot of it just depends on the weather. I think today with this weather that comes through, it might kind of push them off a little bit. I've been seeing a few fish on beds. I'm seeing some fish that are obviously full of eggs, but I'm seeing also a lot of fish that don't have a lot of eggs, and their tails aren't banged up like they're really spawning. So I don't think they're really thick into it. I think most are probably pre-spawn right now.
Yeah.
But some of the deeper as it pertains to spawning, most of the stuff I'm fishing is 2.5 to 5 foot. I think there's some beds. I have seen beds as deep as 7.5 feet out there. So there's some things that there's some places that will have some fish a little bit deeper, or you might not be able to see the beds. Like some of the areas I've been fishing some of the flats in the Fellsmere Reservoir portion. I'm looking for big holes in the hydrilla. That's kind of been mostly what I've been doing, is fishing hydrilla and areas that have visible beds.
Right. Yeah. And Jerry, and I'll post the pictures. He's caught some bass that were loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded.
He was on Keaton'sville yesterday or the day before.
Yep.
And he caught some that were just loaded with eggs.
Yeah. So those pictures will be below. So.
Yeah.
And this is a big mama there.
Oh yeah, real big fish. Real big fish. Nice fish. Also, I've been fishing more of the north end. I know guys are catching them down south.
Right.
But you guys have, we're in early February now. This week I've never seen the hydrilla gnats. I've never seen them this bad up on the Fellsmere Reservoir end of it.
Yeah.
It was pretty miserable. It's the worst I've seen. They get in your eyes, get up your nose. You can go online, or you can stop at your local Wally World, and you can buy head nets. Yeah. So if you're watching this video anytime soon, it's always good to have some. I've never had them. We had to have 500,000 gnats on the boat on Monday. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, especially if you're a kayaker, you just can't get enough. You just can't get enough winds. Can't go fast enough to get rid of them. Yeah. You really need those nets.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a big difference, guys.
It does.
I actually would wake up the next morning and I'd have to use eye drops. I'd still have a couple.
Wow,
it's nasty. It's gross.
Yeah,
it's gross. So, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Okay.
Simplistic kind of stuff like I normally talk about. You guys probably get tired of hearing it. I just do a lot of simple stuff. A lot of my customers, they don't have the stamina to throw big swim baits all day, or don't have the dexterity to do it, I guess you could say as well. So the live bait bite's been pretty darn good. I've had some days where it's tough on the artificial, but of course the live bait can kind of save the day.
All right, as Dan mentioned, I had the privilege of taking out Bill. Bill's from Montana. He comes down here. He'll do a winter trip and he'll do a spring trip. And so I took him out kayaking. Dan took him out on the boat, and we did really well. Kind of a steady bite, nothing crazy, but a steady bite on speed worms. Well, the mega, the net baits mega bobber, and the a fluke. Was it? It was a worm and fluke day, and pretty one hole. Bill, we found one hole. Bill was just whoop, wham, wham, and just 3 or 4 like this, boom, boom, boom. So it was a good day. It was a great outing with Bill. He's a great fisherman, and a big shout out to Bill. Funny thing is, when we pulled into the Davis house here in Sebastian, 2 of our friends or subscribers, or those that follow us on YouTube, were here. Rick and Ed from New Jersey. They're down there, a bit camera shy. We couldn't stop them from talking when we first got here.
We talked a while. They
took a lot of fishing, but they've spent, I believe,
they're yelling.
They're yelling. They spent mostly almost a week here, and they done really well.
They caught 82 or 83. 82.
Hey, you hear that? Okay.
So they did pretty well. I had a good week.
Yep, and we're glad and we're delighted, and it's the purpose of the show to help folks like them, and they can navigate the lake by watching our videos, and that's what we want. We want to enhance everybody's experience and make their fishing trip here to Headwaters or Stick Marsh much better. So thank you guys.
So talking about seeing some people watch the channel, I met Kane and Jay in the parking lot the other morning. I just put the boat in, and there was a guy walking past me. Hey, good morning. And we talked briefly. And he's ready to go catch a big. He said, "I'm ready to go catch a big one today." And I turned to close the truck, and the guy says, "Hey, are you Dan?" I was like, "Yeah." These guys, Kane and Jay, they came all the way from Louisiana.
Okay.
So they were here. If you guys watch the video, comment. Let us know. I didn't see you at the ramp. Let us know how you did. I hope you did really well. I hope you smashed them.
Yeah.
Be good.
Or if you got some pics, post them on our Facebook page. Hooked on Headwaters group Facebook page.
Yeah, that's cool. They're real nice guys. It's always fun to talk to people. I've talked to several people this week at the ramp that they said they're very happy with the videos. You know, the navigation video. If some of you guys are coming down from places that have big lakes that are just wide open, and you can go from point to point and see different things on the lake as points of reference. But Florida is pretty different. You know, with the vegetation,
especially Headwaters. Especially Headwaters.
Yeah, but it's like anything else. Once you get used to it, you don't need it. So
I also, before we move on to the next segment, which is to review swim jigs, sorry, I want a big shout out to Blue Cypress Lakeside Cabins. They help us with the channel. So again, if you're looking to stay at a more kind of rustic setting right on Blue Cypress Lake, this is the place to stay. You got a huge porch in the back, you can grill, hang out. It's a great lake. Kind of, you get that old Florida feel with all the cypress trees. Nice open lake. So another place we highly recommend. And again, if you mention Hooked on Headwaters, they will give you a discount during your stay.
Yeah, cool place. Yeah, the lake looks the same as it did when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It's really cool. Pretty.
And we've got a couple of shows that we're going to schedule to do out there. Maybe a little fishing, kayaking show as well. So be on the lookout for that. Speaking of kayaking, I have a quick update. I called St. John Water Management and asked about the launch, and ask about the timing to clear it. So she said they were going to work on it, and it should be done by this weekend. So hopefully awesome. The kayak launch at Headwaters is cleared enough where you can launch a kayak without walking, 75, 100 yards down the bank there.
With all your gear. Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make it this weekend, but if you guys do, we got kayakers get out. Comment below, let us know what you find.
Yeah, okay. That'd be good. That'd be really good.
Yeah, yep. Okay, for our next section of the video, we're going to turn it over to Captain Dan, where we're going to talk about swim jigs. It's one kind of the go-to lure, certainly here in Florida. And Captain Dan's going to talk about how we use it, how we rig it, how to fish it.
Yeah. Okay, Dave. All right, so I'll use a swim jig a lot of times when I feel like there's a lot of people throwing a chatterbait. It's got a similar profile, but it's a lot quieter in the water. You don't have the vibration, the noise, the flash. So when I feel like that there's maybe a lot of fishing pressure, or they've seen a lot of chatterbaits, I love to go with a swim jig. In the clear water, I really like these natural colors. As a matter of fact, I like the Zoom Vibra Crawl, or Ultra Vibe, excuse me.
Well, let's go. Why do you use this?
Well, the claws they have little swimming legs on it, so it gives off some vibration, but not as much as a chatterbait. Right. Years ago, I was fishing a tournament on Okeechobee. It was right when, this is a long time ago, it was right when the chatterbait had come out. The guy was still selling them out of the back of his truck, and I tried to get my hands on some because I can't remember the guy's name. He won an FLW on the chatterbait, so they were going like crazy. Right. And the guy sold out before I could get some. So I was down in Clewiston, so I went to the marina there in Clewiston, and I bought some swim jigs. And I started fishing. And I did well in that tournament. I had over 16 pounds, and it was pretty cold. And I got a check, but obviously didn't win, or I'd say I won. But that kind of got me going on the swim jig. I really like it because it's a more subtle presentation. Yeah. So the areas that I fish this, obviously in Florida we got a lot of grass. I really like it. It kind of shines in those holes or in the hydrilla. I'll fish it around cattails, lily pads, swim it. You can pitch and flip with them. What's nice, it's very similar to fishing a swimming worm, because it's just like a swimming worm, you can slow down and fish it on the bottom if you need to. Like I just mentioned earlier, Brad, on the first pitch, he caught a 5-pounder on a swim jig. Nice. So some features of the swim jig that I like a big heavy gauge hook.
This is stout, that's for sure.
Pretty stout. Pretty stout, with some kind of keeper on the back. This one happens to have a little wire keeper on the back, so when you put your swim jig trailer
right there, folks,
on there, it'll hold the swim jig in place. Or excuse me, it will hold your trailer in place. Gosh, this happened the last time we were here with this fishing rod. Let me put my fishing rod down.
So let's go back to let's talk basic. You said trailer. Explain what a trailer is.
Okay, so for me, a trailer is any kind of soft plastic that I'd like to put on the back of a jig. Okay. You can do it with spinner baits. You can do it with buzz baits. Yep. That's what we refer to as a trailer. What this does is it gives it some extra buoyancy. There's some guys will throw a swim jig with nothing on it and just throw it just like that, and that will work. I happen to like to throw it with a soft plastic, particularly the Zoom Ultra Vibe Crawl. Yep. Okay. I like the legs on it. There's a lot of people out there, manufacturers, that have crawls with swimming legs, but I do like the swimming legs. Okay. Okay. Tackle wise, I throw it on braid, and you can either throw a straight braid, but me, I like to I just always feel more comfortable putting a piece of fluorocarbon, 20-pound fluorocarbon, 20-pound braid. I have thrown it on straight 30. Typically, I don't like to throw baits like this that require a hard hook set on 20-pound straight braid, because I've had some break-offs on the hook set. There's no stretch where that's where the fluorocarbon, in my opinion, comes in. Gives me a little stretch. I feel like it gives me a little advantage. The fish can't see that line as well. Whether it makes a difference to the fish or not, I don't know. We'll have to ask them.
Yeah.
Rod-wise, I basically just throw it on a worm rod, a stout worm rod.
Yeah.
When I fish the swim jig, my goal is I'll make a cast, and I almost point my rod directly at my bait, and I'll do it in such a position. Let me see if I can do this again without dropping everything. I'll do it. I'll hold the rod in a position, kind of downward and just off 5 or 6, 10 degrees off of my line.
Right.
So when I get bit, I can immediately set up over my right shoulder. You get more power when your hands are here. Like a backhanded hook set, I prefer not to have a backhanded hook set. I get a nice sweeping hook set, but again, my rod's almost pointed directly at my bait when I'm fishing it. Also with a bite, when you get a bite, setting the hook, there's some things that I've found that are important. It's different than, say you're fishing a Texas rig worm, you get a bite, oh, there's a bite, you reel down and set the hook. And I've missed several fish on a swim jig doing that. So when I get hit, I hit back. As soon as I feel a boom, I set up. Nice stout hook set. My rod, I try to always keep it in position to go from reeling directly to a hook set. So you feel the bang, bang them back. So and you got to swing them. You got to swing pretty hard on them. It's got a pretty good brush guard, and you got to be able to bend that down. And when in doing that, and move the bait inside of the fish's mouth to bury that hook in the fish's mouth.
And sometimes if the brush guard is pretty thick, I'll try to spread it. This is wire. I'll try and spread just because we have a lot of grass here. So I like to kind of spread these, if you can, kind of bend it out just to give me a little more coverage over that hook. Now, I also use, or I like to use from the kayak, I'll use a paddle tail as a trailer. So I'll get a nice long paddle tail. I may even, if it's too long, I may even just bite the head off. You know, you want that. You don't want it too long. I'm looking for maybe 2-3 inches, if that. And from a kayak, so since I'm low to the water, I'm righty. I'm going to work this. I'm going to cast left because I'm going to have to kind of come strong, quarter my way, and then set the hook.
Also, now colors, Dave. As I said earlier, this is a pretty natural color. We got a lot of clear water in Headwaters. I like a natural color, natural colored trailer as well. If you're out there in your boat and you're looking around and you see bluegill, they're not going to be blue. They're going to be similar to this. Another thing I do with a lot of my baits when I'm looking at the grass and I'm trying to, and it's clear water, I look at the grass, and the color of the grass is what I'll pick for my bait color when I need something subtle, when the water's really clear. Now I'll go to a darker color, like if I feel like I need to throw a swim jig early in the morning, I might go black, blue, or black and purple with a dark trailer. That in dingy water and in low light situations, I like going to dark. Now you can throw like a stark white bait as well. Sometimes they'll hit white really, really well. So keep that in mind. I just don't happen to have one here right now.
All right.
So
awesome. And for the rod, medium heavy,
medium
fast?
Heavy. I like a 7-foot medium heavy. You can have a fast tip. Whatever kind of rod that casts your worm well will typically cast a jig well. Now, depending on the weight of your jig, I prefer the 3/8 ounce swim jig. Just happens to be a Strike King. I've got them in 6th Sense, and there's a myriad of brands out there. I really like the Strike King. It's pretty affordable and it does well. I like their color selection on it. I normally throw the 3/8. If I feel like I need a little bit more weight, I'll go up to a half, or if I need a little less, I'll go down to, say, 1/4 ounce. But my go-to, the first thing I pick up is always going to be a 3/8.
Now I've seen these with football head heads on it, which means that'll if you let it sink, it's just going to kind of stand up right? Have you ever fished those?
I haven't fished them a whole lot. A really bulbous head on a swim jig, to me, is going to hang a lot of grass. I'm always fishing around grass. If you guys look at the front profile, it's not really. This is a profile, Danny. That's not a profile. So you look at the width of the head of this bait, it'll shed grass easier. A large, wide head, to me, is going to hang more grass. I think they use a lot of those wide head jigs in like rip wrap and things like that.
Okay.
But typically I try to get a streamlined bait so it can move through the grass easily.
Last time I used these, it was in eelgrass. Here, eelgrass.
Yeah, they work great around eelgrass.
So I was very successful with it.
Yeah, I enjoy fishing swim jig. And I do like it on braid better than mono. Monos, there's so much stretch. You have to have a good hook set already with braid. And if you go into mono, you got a lot of stretch and you can miss some fish. But back in the old days, we all get fish mono.
That's right.
Go with what you like. Don't do it just because I said it.
Well, there you have it. So if you guys get out, use a swim jig, send us pictures. Comment below. Let us know about your experience using them. You have any other tips? How to rig them? Maybe a special trailer you use? Share it with our community here. Well, that brings us to the end of our this episode. I want to, before we close out, I want to thank the American Bait Works. They help us and partner with us for the show. They provide all sorts of lures, terminal tackle, halo rods, and if you use our discount code Headwaters 15% off your entire purchase.
Rods, everything. Rods, baits, everything.
Great company. Use that if you plan. Use that code. And don't forget about American Bait Works. Well, thank you, Captain Dan. And we will see you guys, some of you guys on the lake. Get down here. It's as you said last time, it's prime. Last week, it's prime time here for fishing, and the big girls are out and roaming.
Just leave all your really, really cold weather at home if you're coming from the north, please. Today we started out warm, and then we had this cold front come in right about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm almost shivering right now.
And it turned cold like this. The temperature just plummeted.
Some of you guys that watched this were probably on the lake. Rick and Ed, they were on the lake this afternoon, and they saw it rolling. He's like, that doesn't look good. So they split, but so
okay, that's good. So again, thank you for watching. God bless, and we'll see you in the next time.
See you guys.